Alright guys, here's a quick welding tip. Well, it's more of a fabrication tip if you're doing a welding job that involves square tubing. Now, in this case, I have this whole apparatus right here, and I have a piece of square tubing. Now, anyone who's ever welded square tubing before or anything, you can see it here. You can see right on there, you can see that little notch in there. And everyone knows that that's the weld line. So you can see the colors right here. That's the weld line for the square tubing. Now, I need this piece of square tubing to go all the way through into this one. And now, anyone can see where that's a problem because that weld line, it won't let me push the square tubing through, even though this is the right size. So here's a little tip for you that'll help you be able to do that without having to grind all this out. And it actually gives it a kind of a sleek look if you do it right. So I'll show you how to basically map it out first, then we'll show you how to cut it. So first you're going to insert your piece of square tubing sort of on the angle, so right it's like so it's all centered. And you're going to take a nice big hammer and give it a whack. When you pull it out, you got this nice fat ding right at the end right there, right in the center. And that tells me that's exactly where that weld line is. Flip it over. Do it on the other side. You can see again, got a nice ding in there. It's all good, I guess you could say. So now if you look at our piece of square tubing, got a ding there and a ding there. So now you're going to take a ruler and a scribe and scribe those lines together, and we'll come back right after we do that. Alright, so now I got my line scribed right down the center from each little notch. And now we're going to go over to my workbench right over here, and we're going to clamp this in a C-clamp. And what you're going to do is take a grinding disc, a cutting disc, and you're just going to run it right along inside there. Try to keep it real nice and straight. And then what I'll show you what we're going to do is you're going to take the grinding disc, and the grinding disc runs this way. And then you're gonna walk the grinding disc like this, and then walk it on angle like that, so not in the groove. You're gonna hold it, and so it's gonna take that groove. It would be like this for that thing. It's gonna take it and it's gonna bring it like that. So it's gonna open up and flare the edges, so it'll have some freedom to move inside here, inside this thing. I mean, it won't move like this too much because obviously it's a tight fit, but it's like when you're deburring something and you countersink this it kind of helps you find your screw a little bit easier, kind of puts it in there and helps you start it faster or whatever, like on this right here. If you look how that's in there, it'll help me find my screw faster because it's like that. But so let's go over to the grinder and we'll show it to you. Alright, so I got my piece all clamped up here right to my workbench, and now we got it. You can see my line probably faintly. But now we're just going to take my angle grinder, and basically you're just going to hold it and you're going to run it right along that line. You're just going to walk it all through there. And right now what you're going to want to do is just get a nice basic line in there. So let's do it. So now I got it all cut out. I got my groove laid in there, and then you're going to have to do a little bit of adjusting. Those lines aren't perfect in there, and obviously this isn't going to be perfect. And don't do this if it's something that's going to be polished. If it's this, in this case, this is going to be powder coated, so any little scratch that's on the outside anywhere else, it's not going to show up, so it doesn't matter. But on things that are just going to be high polish and stuff like that, where you're going to see little nicks and stuff like that, don't do this technique. But it's pretty good for little jobs that don't really matter. So we'll go over to the piece over here and test fit it out. Alright, so now we got our square piece of tubing. Now we're just going to test fit it. And there you go. Cut your little notch in there. You can see it follows right in the weld line. And now fits in there perfectly. And how this is going to work now is this is going to go in there. I'm going to weld this. And then the other piece of square tubing, which is the rest of this part up here, it's going to clamp right in. There's going to be a hole drilled about right here. You throw a bolt, through it, and then just tighten it down. When you want to take it apart, you take the bolt out. Do that. I was gonna also think about doing pins on this, but I don't know where I can even find those. But like a big pin, I could just take a big pin, throw it through there, and throw like a RC car body clip through there, because it just needs to hold it from, just needs to hold in that nut. This entire thing is gonna hold the whole thing in. But so yeah, there's a nice little tip for you. Hopefully it was helpful. So thanks for watching. Check out my other videos, and yeah. Alright guys, here's a quick welding tip. Well, it's more of a fabrication tip if you're doing a welding job that involves square tubing. Now, in this case, I have this whole apparatus right here, and I have a piece of square tubing. Now, anyone who's ever welded square tubing before or anything, you can see it here. You can see right on there, you can see that little notch in there. And everyone knows that that's the weld line. So you can see the colors right here. That's the weld line